Can you imagine finding an object at a garage sale and later learning that it is worth $15,000? Meet Sharita. Sharita is an antique appraisal specialist. Antique items are items that were used or made a long time ago and are now considered valuable. For example, this vase is an antique. It was made in 1893. An antique appraisal specialist appraises antiques, which means that they figure out how much the antique is worth. For example, this vase is $405. It is from the 19th century. Antique appraisal specialists also learn about the history of an item, like when it was made and who used it. Today, Sharita is meeting with Pedro. Pedro works at a museum and wants to have a few items appraised. First, Sharita looks at a ceramic vase that Pedro brought in. She notices that the bottom of the vase was made to look like a frog and is decorated with geometric shapes. Sharita decides to take the vase to her lab where she can run some tests on the type of clay that was used. She carefully shaves off a piece from inside the vase to run the tests. The tests come back that the vase is from the year 1400. The vase was created by the Hohokam people who lived in Arizona from the years 200 to 1450. The Hohokam people were one group of Native Americans who lived in America before the Europeans came and settled. Next, Sharita looks at a ceramic pot that dates back to the Anasazi people who lived in Colorado before the year 1400. She notices that this pot is decorated with geometric shapes that are similar to the Hohokam vase. The Anasazi people were another group of Native Americans who lived in America before the Europeans. Lastly, Sharita looks at a ceramic pot from the Mogollon people who lived in New Mexico from 200 to 1400 before the Spanish arrived. This pot is bright red and is decorated with black geometric shapes on the inside. Sharita is excited that she could look at objects that belong to Native Americans from 200 to 1450. The objects show how Native Americans were very creative and had artistic skills. The objects also show that there were many groups of Native Americans that lived in America before the Europeans arrived. Sharita's next step is to figure out what all of these objects are worth. Now it's your turn to think like an antique appraisal specialist and go on an adventure.